Hey everybody, good evening. Whoever is here and joining, I have a feeling we'll get a pretty different crowd this time around. What up, Beatlemaniac? We got, we got, we got you. I don't know who else is going to be joining us. We haven't tried it this time before. I know most of the regulars, it's way too late for, so we'll see. Where are you located, Beatlemaniac? 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Yes, yes, it is. Well, you're a trooper. Thanks for hitting us up. If it gets too late for you, feel free to go to bed. I won't be offended. Cool. Let's see what our count is for the moment here. There you go. Yeah, working remotely is awesome. I worked remotely for the majority of my career as well before LaunchBox, and it's a beautiful thing for sure. Wow, Brock. No kidding. Well, thanks for joining. Are you sticking around or are you going back to bed, Brock? Brad. Welcome, Game Room. Welcome, Brock. I will be uh, amazed if you guys stick around and actually have a coherent conversation at 5:30 in the morning. But thanks for joining. All right. Uh, well, first off, let me preface this. I had a super long day. Today's my wife's birthday, and so we spent the day at the beach, basically. And so I got some sun, if you couldn't tell. And hey, Syphilis. Well, have a good night, Syphilis. That's awesome. I was going to bed and my phone made noises at me. I see. You're going to bed at 5:30 a.m.? Wow. Wow, Brock, you're up late. Yes, we live in California, and we're still a couple hours away from the beach, but it was a good day. Definitely a good day. It was just also, when you spend the whole day in the sun, it wears you out. So it's going to be, it might be a little bit of a challenge to keep my brain working for the next 3 hours, but we'll do the best we can here. I didn't want to cancel the live stream, so figured we'd try rescheduling it for 9:30 p.m. Honestly, I don't think this is going to be a good time going forward. There is going to be a couple weeks, something like that, 2, 3 weeks. I'm gonna have to watch my kids during the day a couple times here, so I'll probably have to reschedule for maybe 2 or 3 in the afternoon PST or something like that. So I will have to reschedule again coming up soon, but I don't know that we're gonna do this 9:30 weird time again. Unless we get a bunch of people on that say this time is the only time that works for them, but I don't think it's a really great time for very many people. That explains why you were MIA. Brad, Brad, do I really have to give you a play-by-play? Do I have to report my hours to you, Brad? Oh, nice. That's awesome, Brock. That's really cool. What do you do, Brock? Beatlemaniac, yeah, maybe. To be honest, the times that work best for me typically are is the 9:30 a.m. PST. So I'm likely to stick with that going forward, except when I have a scheduling issue. Although I could, I could switch it up to be, 9:30 a.m. on Mondays, and then in the afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that on Wednesdays. I certainly could do that. But the best times for me, I'm most productive in the mornings when I get up, an hour into my work. So I get up at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm programming, and then 9:30 is a good time to do the live stream sessions typically. But I'm flexible. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how productive I am at 9:30 a.m. or 9:30 p.m. Um, I know. I mean, back before I started doing this full time, all my LaunchBox development was happening between the hours of 8:30 p.m. and 2 o'clock a.m. That was when I did all the work, so I should be able to pull it off. We'll see. I've been spoiled though because I haven't had to do double shifts ever since I quit my full-time job and been working on this full-time. And I do put in more than full-time hours, but nowhere near the amount of hours I used to put in when I was working a full-time job. And then on top of that, going back and working nights until 2 o'clock in the morning. Uh, it was what I wanted to do, but it was killing I was killing myself doing that stuff. So, anyways, moving on. Let's say a quick prayer here because I'm gonna need it tonight. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to get together and live stream and develop and do all this stuff. Thank you for the community. Help me to focus, keep my brain going strong for 3 hours, despite the fact that it's been a long day and I'm a little bit sleepy. Wake me up and let's do this. Thank you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. So, Quake news. That's awesome, Brad. Yeah. The Quake series, the id Software shooters. I grew up on the id Software shooters, and so they're a big deal for me. Those dark days of late nights. All right. So, I think what I want to add today, um, I thought about jumping onto the GamesDB.net, or not the GamesDB.net, the LaunchBox games database. Goodness sakes, I am tired. Jumping onto that and starting work on deleting games and stuff like that. But I think we are going to still stick with LaunchBox development tonight, and I'll probably jump on the LaunchBox games database tomorrow. I want to add this scrape as functionality that I've been putting off. Um, so we can discuss what that means. Basically, we have a set number of platforms that come with that refer to the metadata in LaunchBox and BigBox, and users will run into issues when they customize those platform names. And we have a bunch of differing platform names, like platform names that people are likely to use. So, for example, for a Nintendo Entertainment System, we have NES and Nintendo Entertainment System, parentheses NES and Nintendo NES, and a whole bunch of different platform names that should automatically be picked up to identify it as NES. But the um, the thing is, if somebody changes it to be something that we don't recognize, right now it's a problem when you scrape your data. And so we want to add a manual override to the platforms where you can specify, okay, I want this platform to scrape as uh, this default platform that the LaunchBox Games database knows about. So that's one thing I want to work on, and then also there's plenty of bug fixes that I need to do with the latest betas as well. So, Beatlemaniac says, "Are you going to add new filters by 6.3? Possibly. What filters are you looking for, Beatlemaniac?" Brad says, "Deleting games, the extra platforms in the database for arcade needs to be expanded. Also, moving games from system to system would help with that too. Being able to check the box, force main importing through the import process for platforms. Yeah, those systems breaks LaunchBox, no games get added. Yeah. So the latest versions of LaunchBox don't work for the force main importing for other platforms. and that might be more involved um, than it seems. I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to get at that tonight. The extra platforms in the database for arcade needs to be expanded. Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, that's kind of all part of the same realm. So I don't think we'll tackle that. I'm probably going to tackle deleting games tomorrow, Brad, um, for the LaunchBox Games database. And then also we're going to work on wrapping up the forums and hopefully get the forums deployed here soon in the next couple of days. I was hoping to do that over the weekend, but I ran into some hitches, so I'm working on fixing up those things. Obviously, it's tricky because I need to make sure all the URLs match between the old and the new forums or redirect basically. So there's that and some other related stuff there that I have to work on for the forums. Hey Blazin, welcome. All right, so let's get started on this scrape as stuff. If we go into, we're in LaunchBox here, go into our forums. We have manage platforms. There should be a platform form, edit platform, add edit platform form. There it is. So we'll load up that guy. And we're going to change this up to add a scrape as option. Game room, I have a quick question about the video you uploaded on the 26th. If you have time before you start the session properly. No problem. How extensive and open will the plugin system be? Will users be able to write their own plugins? Absolutely, yeah. That's the whole point of the plugin system there, Game Room. So basically, the goal is to allow you to build a DLL in C# or Visual Basic, any .NET language, and throw it in the LaunchBox folder, okay, or in a theme folder, something of that nature. We haven't really nailed any of that down yet, but ultimately you're going to build a code a DLL, you're going to compile the DLL, you're going to throw it into your LaunchBox folder, and LaunchBox will be able to call out to that plugin at various points. And obviously, we have to decide where all those points are going to be. You know, where all the places are that can use the plugin functionality. We haven't defined any of that stuff yet, so that stuff is to come. And that's one thing I'd like to get nailed down relatively soon. I want to at least get that started before the 6.3 release, but I'm not sure. We definitely need to nail down the custom themes to a greater extent here first. That's probably the biggest priority. But then you know, the plugin system is a big priority too. Basically, I want the plugin system to allow you to, because obviously with the custom themes, you can already build a custom control and put it in a DLL and just have the XAML and the custom themes can already talk to a custom DLL. So that's already supported. The only problem currently with that solution is that the your custom code that you build isn't going to have access to the LaunchBox data, and it's not going to have access to controls and stuff like that. So, and by controls I mean input, joystick input, keyboard input, stuff like that. So we need to provide that stuff so that it's easily accessible from third-party DLLs, and then people can drop in their DLLs and build whatever they want inside a big box. So that's the plan with the plugin system. Okay. So here we are on our edit platform form here. Basically, we just need another drop down is all. Sure. I think 2010 will probably work. No reason why it wouldn't. It should work with any .NET version earlier Uh, well, really any .NET version should work as a plugin in theory. I think. I don't think that's going to be a problem because .NET we're on .NET 4.5.1 right now, but .NET 4.5.1 will talk to any other version of .NET, I believe, in it through DLLs. I don't think there's any problems there. Excuse me. But yeah, so and I assume you can do it in Visual C++ too. I'm not an expert on how all that stuff works, but you should be able to use C++ as well, I think. Okay. So the easiest thing here first is just going to be to add another one of these drop downs if Visual Studio doesn't freeze up on me. Come back to me. There it goes. These are text boxes. There's a combo. That's not a combo. Grab a combo box. Okay. And then we're going to need to move these down a little bit. There it is. Got a frog in my throat. I'm just going to say scrape as for now. We'll call this scrape as label. And then scrape as combo box. Okay. And so we'll need to populate that. This is going to be drop-down style. I'm guessing it's going to be simple because we won't want people to type in their own custom. Oh, no, simple isn't right. It's drop-down list. There it is. We don't want people to type in their own option. We want to restrict them to the options that we already have. And if that's blank, then it won't scrape as anything. We do need to adjust the tab order here. Kind of a pain, but important. Okay. All right. That should be relatively easy to code. The more important piece of it is going to be in the actual platform object itself. A platform is going to need a setting on it. Public string scrape as get and set. And then as far as populating those options, basically I think we're going to be looping through all the platforms in the LaunchBox games database, and that stuff is located under search, local DB. I don't know if I have anything to get a list of platforms, which is tricky right now. I don't even know how that's stored off the top of my head. Because when we search for a game in a particular platform, I think it's literally just the platform names are stored in the games tables. So we're gonna have to get a distinct list of those. Oh, gotcha. Beatlemaniac. Let me take a look at that. Of course, yeah. So we were talking about basically tying. I can drag this over. Tying the LaunchBox Games database in with LaunchBox itself and making all the fields the same. Um, and yeah, I still have the same thoughts here as far as doing that. So the first step for all this stuff was to do the images, and that was a huge job. That was much bigger than any of us really expected. But then, of course, we added the cool stuff where you can easily switch between all the various image types and all that stuff. So yeah, as we get back into the LaunchBox Games database development, it makes sense to start jumping back into tying the metadata pieces together between LaunchBox and the database, and from there, um, obviously we need to define what all the fields are. So, shut up, Brad. Go to bed. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't necessarily keep track of it all. My wife gets after me because my memory is not very good. I have logic in spades, but my memory is not something that serves me very well. Okay. So this is search, get emulators, get platforms. Here we are. Well, this is interesting. This is what we're looking for. This gets a list of local DB platform, which gets all the platforms. So that's taken care of. So we can get all the default platform names. So we can go ahead and populate that drop down. And then we can go ahead and save it. That's easy. So then we load up the add edit platform form. I'm going to go to load values in the current document. First thing we're going to do is this dot scrape as first off we're going to do for each var platform in local db dot get all or get platforms. First thing we're going to do though is this dot scrape as combo box dot items dot add an empty string, which will be one isn't selected, and then we'll add for each of these items platform dot name, and that'll populate the combo box, and then we can say this dot you know what though, we might want to populate those somewhere else because we need to populate them even when we're not loading any data. So that's an important thing to note. I'll probably do it in the constructor instead. Scrape as combo box dot text equals this dot platform dot scrape as. We're going to move this stuff to the constructor. The constructor is basically what initializes the form. There's two of them. So I guess we kind of need a method to do it so we don't duplicate the code. Private void populate scrape as. And then before we load the values, I'm going to say this dot populate scrape as, and yeah, that's where we populate our image types, so that makes sense. Okay. So, and then save values is the only other thing, and that's a single line thing, nothing difficult there. This dot platform dot scrape as equals this dot scrape as combo box dot text. Easy as pie. So now we can go in and edit those values without any trouble. One thing that's important to note, though, is we also need to automatically populate that value based on the you know, by parsing out the name. So if they match up, it can automatically select it. So then, so we'll get there. I think we should probably do that here right away, though. So we load up the form, we load the values. So we need load values. We set it to that first. Well, let's say if this.platform.scrape as, if string.is null or empty, this.platform.scrape as, then we're going to say, then we're going to automatically populate it. Otherwise, we'll assign it like that. And to automatically populate it, I think there's a method somewhere that will automatically do this for me. Find DOS, platforms match, get valid platform name. So basically, this takes any name and tries to match it up to an existing platform. So this dot scrape as combobox.text equals localDB.getValidPlatformName, and then basically we'll use the platform name, and if it doesn't find it, it'll just return null, so that's fine. So we're good to go there. I think we can simplify this a little. Thanks to ReSharper. There we go. And so when we load up an existing platform, it's going to automatically assign the scrape as. For a new platform, I'm thinking it should do it. Yeah, it's tricky. When should it? I mean, if we're manually adding a new platform, which really isn't a common thing, because the platforms are automatically added when you you know, add a new platform name into a game. It automatically adds the platforms. So this shouldn't really be a common scenario, adding it manually, but we should probably handle it anyways. Well, let's go ahead and build this and give it a run. Just to make sure I'm not smoking anything. Okay. So this is a new setup that I've been playing with. Figured I'd start over a little bit. So I'm working on, I've got Nintendo 64 and SNES pretty much perfect. I'm going to be using this data all hooked together to help populate some of the new ROM CRC check features when I get around to doing that. So I'm trying to get perfect sets here, and I have it pretty much set for Nintendo 64 and SNES. And NES is there, but it's missing some images. So working on that. Anyways, so we go to manage platforms, and we load up Nintendo 64. There it is. Nintendo 64 is automatically populated in that list. But if I want to be crazy, I can go down and switch it to be something completely different. Oh, these aren't alphabetical sorted, so I'll need to do something about that. And then if we go back and load that back up, it should keep my setting. Yeah. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to look at was, yeah, you can manually add a platform. So basically, when you leave the title field, it should, in theory, automatically populate this scrape as field when you tab off of the title. So that's what we need to add, and then also to get that list sorted. Game room, adding my C16 Commodore 16 library to LaunchBox for the last 3 days. 6128. Cool. David, rocket launcher. I saw somewhere that you were gonna hound me for that. So I got back to um, who did I get back to? I got back to the guys um, just a couple days ago with answers to the latest questions. So hopefully that should be moving forward here very soon. Um, but yeah, I have moved forward with the rocket launcher thing. Absolutely. I expect that they should be in a position where they're very very close from what I understand, but I do need to follow up with them to figure out exactly where they're at. I'm not sure where they're at with the stuff. I know a beta was out already, although it was taken down because it really wasn't ready. But it is close, so I can't imagine it's going to be a whole lot longer, uh, before we actually get it out there. But the one thing between what they're working on and what I'm working on, we're trying to work together to figure out what we can do absolutely ideally, and what we can do without major changes to either platform. So we sort of have a list of changes that would be ideal to make, and then we have the list of changes that are absolutely required. And so, it's up to them as far as at what point they actually decide to release it. So that's what I need to talk to them about. I'm not sure how long that's going to be. Beatlemaniac, giving XAML tutorials, absolutely, yes. Um, I do plan to come out with some more tutorials for XAML going forward. I did come out with one, but it was very, very simplistic. To be honest, as far as doing new stuff that I haven't done in LaunchBox and Big Box yet, I'm not a XAML super expert. I mean, I've built Big Box. I know XAML enough to get Big Box to where it is right now. But I'm certainly not a huge XAML expert, so there's some learning I got to do from that front as well. But that's something I'm definitely going to be doing going forward. However, we're not going to do that until we get the 6.3 release out, and we nail down the custom themes the way they're going to be. Just because they might change a little bit before the official release, so that's why I haven't jumped on that immediately here. Theming easier for people who don't want to code. Sure, yeah. So basically, what Brad says, there are GUI ways, visual ways to edit themes, edit XAML. One thing I have on my list is to sit down and play with some tools, figure out what the best solutions are, and then provide a tutorial for people to build themes visually. And that, admittedly, frankly, that's going to be a whole lot more limiting. You're not going to be able to do nearly as neat as stuff if you don't know how to to really dive into the XAML, but hopefully it will let people tweak at least, people who don't want to learn the full thing. Yes, you can. Game Room says you can use Visual Studio to design the interfaces, no coding required. That is correct. It's going to be more limited that way, but you can do a lot of the stuff in Visual Studio without diving straight into the XAML. Yeah, I get you with the GUI, absolutely. XAML is a lot more powerful than a lot of other things that we could have used. So a GUI is going to get you pretty far. It's going to let you do some pretty neat stuff, but you're not going to have the same kind of power with a GUI as you do with XAML itself. So obviously, we'll want to provide a GUI though, so people can get their feet wet quickly and easily. XAML Designer for Visual Studio. Here's a link to it. Cool. Thank you, Game Room. Cool, David. Appreciate that. I appreciate you pushing me in that direction because I got a lot of irons in the fire. So it's always good to get a push here and there from the community, so I make sure I don't forget one and end up burning down the house. So yeah, appreciate it. Okay, so back to our load values method here. We are basically good to go, other than we need to automatically populate that um, value on tabbing off of the title field if it's blank. So here we're going to put an event on text or on leave, I believe would be the best one. It occurs when the control is no longer the active control of the form. So when you tab out of title or you click out of title, this is going to happen. And I'm going to say if this dot scrape as combo box dot text dot length is greater than 0, we're going to return. So we don't do anything. So we don't overwrite a value that's already there. And we're going to copy at this point, basically copy the code that we already put under load values. It's going to be not quite be this, but it'll be close. We're just going to take out half of that binary thing there. If I can get back to my method. Okay, this dot scrape as combo box dot text equals local db that get platform valid platform name from the text and not the platform name that's saved. This dot title text box dot text. There it is. Build that, test it, and then it comes down to all the tricky stuff where we actually have to use that new scrape as field in all our logic. So that's what's coming up next. Okay, so we go to manage platforms. I'm going to add a new platform and say I'm just going to make it NES tab. There it is, Nintendo Entertainment Systems automatically populated. We'll erase that. If I put in Genesis, Sega Genesis shows up. That's good. So that's working. And then these, when we load them up, they should all be matched correctly. Yeah. Cool. So we're good there. The only thing left then is to make sure that we use those settings. Now I have a trick, I think. as far as how to do this in one spot without having to touch a bunch of different places. If we go to the local DB, get valid platform name. I'm going to check to make sure this is the right thing that we're using everywhere. So in the working control, that's what does the searches. That looks right. Oops. Go to definition. Here we are. So I think everything, when it looks to find the right platform to use for searches and such, I think everything is using this one little method right here. So if we tweak this method to return the actual platform name, I think we're okay. I think that's all we need to do. We'll need to do some testing, but that went quicker than I expected. That's good. So let's see what we get here. Let's give it a shot. The thing is, we kind of want to modify this to say bool official only equals false. And I'm going to go back to my added a platform form, and official only, I'm going to make it ignore the logic to automatically pull from scrape as. And I'm doing that because for the platform form, we don't want to use that logic when we populate it automatically. So I'm going to say official only true. There's one other place where calling get valid platform name. Right up here, we're going to say official only here as well. Come on, low memory. I only have 16 gigs of RAM in this system. You would think that would be enough. The funny thing is, when Visual Studio tells me it's low on memory, I have plenty of memory. It's not low on memory at all. So I don't know what his problem is with that. It's driving me nuts, though. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, if not official only, we're going to loop through all the platforms that are in our local XML. So for each var platform in program.data.manager.platforms.values, that's the actual platform objects. Platform if platform dot name equals name. Actually, I should change this up. Dot equals name string comparison dot ordinal ignore case. Then we're going to return platform dot scrape as. And that will make it so that it returns the scrape as platform as long as it's not official only. It does that first. It looks for the platform already existing in there with a scrape as. Oh, also, and platform.scrape, or not string that is null or empty, platform.scrape as. In other words, if scrape as is blank on the platform, go back and use the default logic. Don't use the overridden logic. So I think that'll work. Let's catch up on the comments here. Brad, can scrape as be noted or set during the actual import process too, instead of just the edit platform screen? Yeah, basically, Brad, that's automatically happening here as is, because we already have scrape as logic, and the default logic that's already there will be used in that. Oh, but you're talking about in the wizard specifying a setting. That's a good point. That's a good point, Brad. We should possibly add a step to the wizards to specify what to scrape it as. Yeah. The thing about that is you get the drop down list in the wizards already as far as what platform to choose. So the only I don't think it's really an issue. The only time it's an issue is when people go in and manually change a platform name and then wonder why nothing works. Um, so I'm not going to jump on that right away, Brad. We can come back to that if we need to. It's easy to add later, and it'll fit right in with this without a problem. Beatlemaniac, do you plan on adding an audit feature to audit the media for games? If you don't have clear logos for some games on a platform, select the audit button for that platform. That has become more and more obvious to me that that's important in the last few weeks, Beatlemaniac, especially with all the new image types and the ability to quickly switch between them and all that stuff. I agree. We definitely need that. I don't think we actually have a ticket for that, so we need to definitely create a ticket on Bitbucket to do that and get people voting on it because it does seem like it's an important feature. I certainly agree with you there. And it searches the LaunchBox database for all the missing clear logos on that platform. Sure. Yeah. So basically, search for all the missing media. For one thing that does help Beatlemaniac is you. By the way, are you talking about the Beatles, the band, the Beatles? Just an aside, because I agree. I love that band. Anyways, it searches the LaunchBox database for all the missing clear logos on that platform. I grew up with the Beatles, and I still listen to the Beatles, so that's saying something. My parents listen to the Beatles, and I still listen to the Beatles. Anyways, uh, you can already go in using the download metadata, download images and metadata wizard. You can already go in and select all the games that you want to download additional images for, and you can run the wizard, select what you want to download from the games DB, and tell it not to download duplicate information and not to replace information, and it will automatically download anything that's missing. So that's important to note. That does exist. Um, Game Room is Visual Studio only running as a 32-bit app. Yeah, I think it's confusing. Game Room. It's not really only 32-bit because obviously it's compiling 64-bit apps and all kinds of stuff. But yes, there's only one version of Visual Studio. I assume that's what you're getting at. Brad says if you downloaded all of the available data though, then audit. In this specific case, doesn't work, does it? If you downloaded all of the available data and then audit. I don't know what you're trying to say, Brad. I'm sorry, I'm not following. Game Room. If so, that would explain the memory issues. Oh, good point, Game Room. That's an excellent point. Good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Who knows? That'd be really dumb. That would be exceedingly stupid if that was really the problem. Especially since, I mean, Visual Studio builds 64-bit applications and everything else. That's crazy. Interesting. Brad, in terms of downloading new media that was added to the database after you downloaded your media originally, we do want to implement a method that will only download new metadata and media instead of everything over again. That already exists, Brad. That's already there. And even potentially a premium feature to allow a schedule feature so it runs when you're asleep, for example. Sure, that's been discussed. You get the drop down in the wizard, but you can type in a system name during import. That field you can edit while importing. You get the drop down in the wizard, but you can type in a system name during import. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true, Brad. So yeah, you can override it if you want to. Although, I mean, I don't. I mean, if it's in the list, people should be specifying an item from the list. I don't know. Maybe on imports we should. we should not allow people to type in a platform. I don't know. Now we kind of need to, just in case the platform doesn't exist. But anyways, Beatlemaniac, absolutely. I don't want any clones in terms of media. However, I'd like to be able to click an audit button to search automatically for all my games on a platform. Sure. Yep. The audit button could only audit certain image types. It's clear logos to avoid getting duplicates. So also when we start working on uh, the proper sync to the LaunchBox games database, basically uploading your content in LaunchBox to the database and all that stuff, we'll probably have to address some of that as well. So we'll get there for sure. Good morning, Isolac. Beatles rock band introduced me. Interesting. Sure, sure. So you're an all new generation of Beatles fans. There's an all new generation of Beatles fans out there. That makes sense. That's cool. Let's see. So where were we? We basically I added this code to add the functionality for scrape as. So basically, we need to test this stuff out. And I need basically a scratch session here. I don't want to mess with what I've got going proper, but we'll build it, and then I'll probably just use the debug session. The only issue is it's going to be empty, but that's okay. We'll be all right. So we got 10 people on the stream right now, which isn't too bad. That's certainly nowhere near our typical 25, 30, but that's cool that I'm glad you guys are here. Let's go ahead and start this up just in the regular debug session. What is this? No, I've never seen that before. Okay, here we go. We already have a bug. So local DB line 439. There it is. So platforms is null apparently. I see. So get valid platform name is basically just called before we've even populated our platforms, which makes sense. If not official only and program.datamanager.platforms is not equal to null, then we'll do it that way. Otherwise, we're gonna skip it because basically it's automatically populating the platforms on initial run when it loads up the data based on the names of the platforms on the games. So it's trying to do it even before it's populated all the platforms. That's the problem. What else we got? Is this the same thing? Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, you know what? I bet data manager is null. It is. Aha. So this is really early on. So I'm going to just do that, which basically will say if data manager is null, then just return null, and it'll check it to make sure it's not null. So that'll work. That makes sense because some of this is happening in the data manager constructor, which creates the data manager, so the data manager doesn't exist yet. Okay, so I do have a little bit of data in here. Nintendo Wii. So I'm going to go in and we're going to go to manage platforms, and in Nintendo Wii, we're going to edit that guy. And we'll leave the scrape as Nintendo Wii, but we're going to change the title to crap. Doesn't matter. Of course, the folder is still going to be... No, the folders were all changed. I wonder how that works. If we rename a platform, I think that might be an issue still that I need to look at. Because when you rename a platform right now, it changes all these folder names, and it doesn't necessarily move all the images, which is a problem. So that's something to that I need to look into as well. So speaking of that, I should note that because that's kind of a major issue. Renaming a platform changes folders but doesn't move content. It's not a problem for our test thing here because we're not using any media yet, but that'll be an issue going forward. All right, so now if I go in and edit this game, or let's add a new game to platform crap. Let's say, let's just do Mario Kart. Yeah, I better. Okay. It's doing its search. Okay, it finds Mario Kart Wii for Nintendo Wii. And it assigns the platform correctly. That's great. So that worked. One thing that's interesting here, though, what if we add a new game? Well, it's defaulting the platform already when we add a new game, so that's not going to be not really going to be an issue. One thing that's interesting is, say, we search for Mario Kart. And then we select Mario Kart Wii for Nintendo Wii. It's going to fill this with Nintendo Wii, not our custom platform name. I don't think that's going to be a common issue. And I don't necessarily think we want to go backwards on that, but it's something to look out for. All right. So then imports, let's say, this is a good point. So maybe we want to import Nintendo 64, but we want to call it something different. So import ROM files. I see what you mean, Brad, about wanting to put this in the wizard so you can specify in the wizard what to scrape as. I think that does make some sense. So say we want to add some files here. We go to games, Nintendo 64. I'm going to search for star.zip, which gets me only my ROMs from that folder. Add them. And then here we get to what platform are you importing games for. And you get this drop-down list, but and then you show default and all this stuff. So we would, custom, you can put it in custom text, custom N64, for example. And then we would want to show another one down here, scrape as. So what we could do is we could, whenever you type in a custom value that isn't in the list, we could show another option down here, scrape as, that would solve that. I think that's probably a good idea. Yeah, yep. I just saw your comment, Brad. That's what I meant. Yeah, we did. So then Nintendo 64. See, right now it doesn't have any idea what custom N64 is. So we'd have to add the scrape as, and then it could suggest an emulator and all that stuff. Of course, we've only got Dolphin right now because it's only Nintendo Wii. But one thing we should try though. So we already have Nintendo Wii defined as a platform. Let's go ahead and delete the games. And let's do another import of Wii games. Make sure this is working. Nintendo Wii. Oops. Wrong spot. Games. Nintendo. No, I need to pull it from here. Open. Next. By the way, I own every single one of these Wii games, guys. I own them all. And they are all behind me on the shelf. FYI. I'm not kidding either. Nintendo Wii. Except we selected Nintendo Wii. We should have. Ah, interesting. So in this list, our custom platforms don't even show up. That's odd. So that needs to be worked on. But if we selected, say we typed in that to match our existing platform, it does automatically find Dolphin for it. And what if we clicked add? Yeah, it recognized that Dolphin is correct. Use the files in the current location. That's fine. That's fine. Actually, that's not. Let's select none and only do box front. I do want to download something so we can make sure it's scraping properly. I'm not going to bother with EMU movies for right now. But yeah, it's treating them as Nintendo Wii games on the imports. So that's good. We have our art. Yeah, we got to work on that emulator list. Absolutely. Set the default suggested emulators based on scrape as well, so we can suggest emulators. Yeah, that's already done, Brad. I just confirmed that. And make sure that it sets the associated platform name based on scrape as potentially instead of the custom system name. Yeah. Oh, sure. Well, yeah, that should automatically work. There shouldn't be anything required for that. They didn't find anything from me channel, but I have the me channel working, Brad and Dolphin. I do. It works. I actually modded my Wii and went through the whole big scheme to get my Wii configuration and all my me characters and all that stuff over in the Dolphin environment at one point. It was a while ago, but I think it still works. So basically, I wanted to just experiment to see if I could get at all the me's in Dolphin that I had created on my physical Wii. So that's why. Anyways, so there's a couple things. One is in the wizards for imports in particular, we should add the scrape as thing. The other thing is in the wizards the thing where it shows you your list of platforms. It shows you all the default platforms, but it's not showing your custom crap platform that I added for whatever reason. So there's a couple things to look into. I guess we'll go ahead and jump on that. On the wizards forums. So we have import games from Steam. Import games from files. Is there anything else we need to do as far as other than import games from files? That's one question. Let's load up LaunchBox and look. The LaunchBox zip package thing, that doesn't apply. Import MS-DOS games does the from files. ROM files does too, and so does Windows games. Steam games is custom. I think you might select the platform in this one though too. I don't even remember what mine is. Yeah, it's probably not right. So no, you don't select a platform. It must just automatically assign it to be Windows. That's right. Yeah. So we don't got to worry about that. That's fine. And people can change the platform on those later if they want to. That's not a big deal. So yeah, it's just that one form. Import games from files wizard form. Yeah, you're out of memory. Thanks a lot. Here you go. Okay. So this is the screen to tweak. How are we populating this combo box? Platform combo box. Get all platforms with defaults, or get all platforms. Well, see, why was get all platforms not returning that crap platform though? That's what I'm confused about. Because if we start up our debug session, crap wasn't even showing up in that list. Welcome, Yuri. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, if we go imports, that's what we want. We want to import ROM files, add files. Doesn't matter. Just select some files. Oh, it is in the list. I'm just blind. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. I thought it wasn't. Good. Well, that's one less issue. There was one other thing I forgot about too. In manage platforms, these aren't in alphabetical order, and they need to be. So I need to fix that too. Okay, so populating them is fine. Let's fix the alphabetical order thing because that's kind of a pain. It's a problem. Oh man, come on. Okay, so we have a method called populate scrape as. localdb.get platforms. I'm going to do select s.name, and then excuse me, how do I sort them? Come on. That to list dot sort. Oh, okay. Var platform names equals that. I think Link has a way to sort them though. What is the way to sort them? I should do this right. Order by. So there's an easier way to do this. I'm just making this more difficult than it should be. All I have to do is change this get platforms.order by s.name, and that'll take care of it right there. Yuri says, what about adding a launcher for Xbox app on Windows 10? No worries. You're speaking fine, Yuri. I hope I'm saying your name right. So basically, yeah, Brad says Windows doesn't want us to easily access the files in the Windows Store, so we need to figure out a way that we can actually accurately do that. It's a royal pain in the butt, and Microsoft has for some stupid reason locked that stuff down tremendously. So it's a royal pain to get at. There are ways to do it. I know there's at least one forum post out there with a solution, not a solution for imports, but a solution to actually be able to run the applications. But it's a whole lot more difficult than it should be. That is something we do need, especially as that the Windows 10 platform, the Metro whatever it is, that platform gets to be more prominent. We're definitely going to want that. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but I know there are some options out there. We just have to look into it. I think somebody actually gave me some more technical details on it to make it a little bit to give me the resources I need. I just need to take a look at it and get it done. So yeah, I think there is a Bitbucket ticket out there somewhere for it. But if not, we should add it and then have people vote on it. So I know how many people are looking for that. I would think a lot of people are, though, to be honest. Okay. So we fixed our excuse me, alphabetization. I can't say that to save my life. Alphabetizing for these platforms, that should be fixed. And then we need to go back here and add the scrape as stuff. So if you type in a custom value and tab off, I think that's the best way to do it. The letter selector. What do you mean by that, Beatlemaniac? The letter selector. Sure. Yeah, the search. Yeah, we definitely need to search for big box. That's coming. One of the main issues with um, oh, I missed Beatlemaniac's comments up here. Sorry, I'm falling behind. Consider adding a search bar in Big Box. I know you said some time ago you need to add a digital keyboard. Yeah, so basically that's still something I need to do. It's definitely on the list. I don't know how high up on the list it is yet, but it is definitely on the list. We do have the letter selector in the same, but yeah, there's a Bitbucket ticket for it. Launcher for Xbox app on Windows 10. Cool. Yeah, I agree. It's something we need. Yeah, I get it, guys. I'm sorry. I was behind in the conversation. Um, I missed some comments. So we have the platform, and if somebody types in something that um, isn't in the list, then I guess we show the scrape as. Um, it just seems so confusing. It seems like maybe a better solution would be to provide a list of platforms that LaunchBox knows about and then you provide a custom. You can provide a custom name for it. I don't know though. I don't really like that either. Yeah, for sure. We definitely have. It's more supported. I mean, the letter selector will get you where you need to go, but a search, it depends on how you use it. I mean, if you're using it on an arcade cabinet, and a lot of people are, of course, then a search is going to be useless. Not useless, but it's going to be a pain still. If you're using it, like as an on an HTPC, then it's going to be a lot more common. People are going to want to use it. So it kind of depends on what kind of interface you've got set up. But yeah, we definitely need it. But what do you guys think about this interface here? I I'm kind of torn. I don't know why people would want to change it. Most people aren't gonna want to put in a custom platform name. Why would you? I mean, you've got the list there. Even when you start typing, it automatically fills in the rest of the stuff. I guess if you did start typing, I mean, let's give it a test. Let's give it a test. I'm just not sold on how to do this yet to make it straightforward and clean. So say we start typing. The moment you type an N, it automatically fills in. So it's obvious that there's a list. It's never. I mean, it's like it's not even possible to not realize that this is a list, which is good. That's how it should be. But what would be the reason? Why would anybody on initial import want to use a different platform name? I guess people would type in N64. Okay, that's great, but that should work already as is. So I don't know. I'm just thinking. I guess we'll go ahead and do it. Most people wouldn't even know it's there, but that doesn't matter. It's fine that way. Just a consideration, if you wanted to create a platform named ROM Hacks, then you'd want to have multiple platforms support that platform within LaunchBox. Yeah, unfortunately, Beatlemaniac, that's not something we're gonna really support because then how do you scrape that? It's messy. I think if you want to create a category called ROM hacks, there are other ways to filter it other than platform. Um, there's if we need to add a checkbox called hack or something, then we can do that. But uh, I don't think platforms should be used um, to separate things other than actually the actual systems because I think it's just going to cause problems. Um, for Rocket Launcher, I have to create custom platforms every time. What do you mean by that, David? Can you explain that for me? That's important here. I don't want to. I want to make sure I'm understanding all the various perspectives. I don't really understand why you need to create custom platforms to use it with Rocket Launcher. See you, Yuri. Thanks for joining. My wife doesn't like it. Yeah, I tell you what. So, my wife didn't like it either until it became my job. So, now she doesn't have a choice because it pays all our bills. Isn't that awesome? Now I can officially tell my wife, "This is my job, Amber. This is my job, dear. I have to play games. This is important to my career." I'm a lucky man. All right, Brad says, well, in this specific case, arcade is a great example. We don't have database entries for most of the arcade platform boards. So being able to scrape them as arcade was I think where this originated from. I see. I see. That makes sense. But of course, yeah. Okay, I get it. So say you wanted to add. That makes good sense, Brad. Thanks. That's the perfect scenario. That's the reason why we're doing this. And I had forgotten that. Okay, game room. Will the user-generated platforms be uploaded to the database once that support is added to LaunchBox? I have a few custom platforms, mostly tape-based platforms I spent a good while on finding images for. So basically, for one thing, we need to add those custom platforms that don't yet exist to the LaunchBox Games database. And that is going to be a manual process. But I just need to get the platforms added, figure out what's missing, and add all the missing platforms. And then they won't be custom anymore; they'll be in the system. So basically, that's step one. If you rename your platform, then of course it's still going to work. But to upload to the platform name that's up on the database. But yeah, basically we're gonna have to manually add any missing platforms in order to get the images populated for them. Brad says, I think there's more for systems that don't exist. People still want to name the platforms whatever they want. Yeah, so that's one thing for sure. Calling it other names, and I had remembered that, but I hadn't remembered that that the whole arcade scenario where they're all grouped together on the database, but they're separated. So they're separated in some people's collections, etc. Calling it other names that we may slightly support also doesn't work sometimes, like N64 automatically scraping as Nintendo 64. That should work. I'd like to know in what scenarios that doesn't work. I've never seen that not work, but it's possible that I'm missing something there. There are systems too not listed there as well. Sega Try first comes to mind. Yeah, there's definitely platforms that we're missing that we definitely need to add. Yep, Brad, you're the only one in that same boat. Not the only one. We have industry insiders in our awesome community as well. Yippee! David, well, until the plugin comes out, I have to put in Rocket Launcher as system and this custom command. Okay, sure. Rocket. Oh, okay. So basically, you set the platform to be Rocket Launcher. So you created a custom platform. No, I'm confused. I don't know where the system name. I've put the correct system name as it is in Rocket Launcher. Sure, but why do you have to specify custom platforms for that, David? That's what I'm confused about. Why do we have to do why do you have to add custom platform names in order to do that in for Rocket Launcher? I get the setup for all the emulators, but that's the emulators. That's not the platforms. So that's what I'm confused about. All right, well, let's go ahead and actually do something here. Start working on adding this. I'm just gonna copy this. Oh man, I'm gonna have to close Visual Studio. Open it back up. You would add Rocket Launcher as an emulator and use the associated platforms list. Yeah, that's what Brad meant by system. Okay, cool. Thanks, David. I appreciate that. I was confused. I want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So I don't mean to call you out or anything. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something. Make sure we're all on the same page here so that I don't screw everything up for everybody. No worries. While this is loading, I'm gonna go grab some water because my throat is a little bit iffy from. I don't know if I was yelling too much today or what. I'll be right back. All right. So I'm going to copy these two and paste them in. It's 2 a.m. here in New York. Yeah, I hear you, David. It's only 11 over here, but I'm feeling it. Usually I stay up till 2 o'clock or so, but man, it's been such a long day that I'm gonna be feeling it come 12:30. So this is going to be scrape as scrape as combo box, and we're going to change the drop down style to list. Excuse me. And then change the name of this label to scrape as label. One thing I'm thinking of as I'm doing this, when we do this, well, these are imports, but what if you're importing an existing platform? I guess we would just override the scrape as. Well, really, if it exists, we should load the existing value, and if you change it, we should just override it on the platform, I guess. I don't know. I guess that makes sense. Move it down a little. So there's that. We have the fields. Both of these are going to be hidden by default. They're only going to show up when you tab off of this. We are going to want to populate it though. We can steal that from managed platforms, that code, or add edit platform. We have populate scrape as. Okay. And call that from the constructors. We have several of them for the various situations. I think that'll be okay. So that'll populate the list. From there, we need the leave event here. And somehow we need to determine if it's in the initial list or not. So if this dot huh. I guess if local db.get valid platform name this.platform combo box.text official only string that is null or empty then basically that means it wasn't found. It's not an automatic. Well, that's not going to work either. Because we need to figure out if it's in the list, in the immediate list. We need to get the list of platforms. Ugh, man, this is a pain. So if we get the official list, and it's not in the official list, we got to check it against the platform list. And oh man, all right. Here we go. First things first. If local db.get platforms .select the official platform names .toList, or do we have a .contains? Yeah, we do. .contains. We kind of need it to be a value source. We have a custom comparer. The thing is, it should be case insensitive, and that's the trick. Bah. Text quality comparer. I'm gonna have to search from this. I'm not sure what to do. Link contains case insensitive. Oh, just use two lowers. Okay, fine, that works. It's a cheat, but it works. s.name.toLower contains text.toLower. Then basically we're dealing with a default platform name. Otherwise, else if program.datamanager.platforms.keys, these are just the strings, .contains same issue here though. Platforms.values.select s.name.toLower .contains, this is crazy, this .platform combo box text.toLower. Then we have, this is an existing platform. Otherwise, it's something we don't recognize. I think that'll work. Where are we at? Fix your sleep. Yeah, I hear about Brad's sleep problems all the time. We gotta fix you, Brad. I don't know what to do, but I wouldn't survive. I don't think. Game room, yeah. Early. You got up early, man. Did you get up just for us? Just for the stream? Game room? If the scrape has value already exists or the platform already exists and uses library, then I would have assumed that it would use the existing value for scraping. Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. So the first situation here, that's awesome, Game Room. I appreciate it. You are more devoted than I am. I don't care what's going on at 5:30 in the morning. I would not be out of my bed. I've had multiple jobs. I'm a bad person. I've had multiple jobs where I'm supposed to be on call, and thankfully I'm not in that situation anymore. But I purposely, regardless of the fact that I'm supposed to be on call for any job I've ever had, I've always left my phone in a completely different room across the house overnight when I'm sleeping. Is and I've always been able to use the excuse that I didn't hear it. You know, I've never once, I've never once gotten in trouble for that, but never have I slept in the same room with my phone on purpose, just so that if work calls and I'm sleeping, I don't care. I'm gonna keep sleeping. But thankfully, I don't got to worry about that anymore. So. And I tell you what, the LaunchBox server went down for some stupid reason. I would be up at 3 o'clock in the morning to fix it. You can bet on that. If I knew about it, anyways. Moving on. So the first situation we have here is when it's in the list, it's a normal platform. I don't think we're going to do anything in that situation. This situation is when it already exists in our set, in our actual platforms that we have for our XML database. And so that's when we're going to load. And this situation is where it's not found, so we're going to show it. But actually, we are going to do something here. We're going to say this dot scrape as combobox.text equals string.empty. This dot scrape as combobox.visible equals this dot scrape as label.visible equals false. So we're basically resetting it and hiding it in the case where it's found. And we have it in the list as a normal item. Hey, OPEC, welcome. I was gonna, that's on my list. You saw my to-do list. I'm sorry I haven't gotten your translation in there yet, but I've got that on my list here to do, so I should be getting to that very, very soon. Game room. I like watching others during development cycles. It's nice to see how others work. It's usually a bit manic here, especially when I have a deadline. Oh yeah, absolutely. Deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. Yeah, working remotely is a lifesaver. Absolutely. Yep. Yep. I've never had really terrible commutes, um, where I've had to go into the city and all that stuff, but I have had hour-long commutes, and that sucks. That sucks really bad. My camera's a little messed up, isn't it? Not that it matters. You're not here to watch my pretty face. But still, professionalism, professionalism, professionalism. Welcome back, Brad. I don't think I answered anything. All right, so down here, this is where we want to load the scrape as. The funny thing is, if it's a default platform, well, if it's a default platform, then we've already handled that. So we can assume if we get here, it's not a default platform, and we're going to want to populate scrape as. We're going to want to show it, and then get the value. That should be easy enough. Set invisible true, and then this dot scrape as combo box dot text equals I think we can just do local db dot get valid platform name this dot platform combo box dot text. In theory, that'll do it. And then down here, it doesn't exist, basically. So all we're going to do is set it to visible, and that's it. I think. Something like that. Yeah, but you put a lot of work into that, OPAC. I kind of feel bad that I haven't gotten to that yet, to be honest. So forgive me there. I mean, I appreciate all the work you put into it. I like to respond quickly when people put that amount of effort into something. I like to get back to them quick with it integrated. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. In Atlanta, everyone lives outside the city and works inside the city. Therefore, everyone goes the same direction to and from work. Yeah, that's crazy. That's typical. That's like every city everywhere has that problem. It's kind of funny. Yuck. Public transport though being non-existent, that's not a good. That's a real problem. Not that I like public transport or use public transport, but I don't need it here where I'm at. But anyways, I never leave my house. What am I even talking about this stuff about for? I did today though. I went to the beach. Anyways, okay. I'm getting little bit silly because I'm sleepy. Ha 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 ha. Okay. So I think we're okay as far as selecting it. It's just a matter of what we do with it. Let's go ahead and build it and give it a test. See where we're at. Hurry up. There we go. Okay, start up LaunchBox. Actually, I really should be using my test instance. There's no reason to use my actual instance here. Let's close out of that and run the test instance. I've been trying to get this whole time, forever, I have been using my same LaunchBox instance for both like my cabinet and all that stuff, as well as all my development. And it sucks because I keep messing everything up as I'm testing things. So I'm trying to separate it. But bad habits are hard to kill. Old habits die hard, I guess is the right saying. All right, so We want to import. Let's just go to. We're going to import we. And we're going to select, for starters, crap. And nothing shows up. That's interesting. Because nothing shows up here because, let's take a look at our logic. Huh. Well, let's walk through it. That seems like it should have shown up. Oh, I haven't left. Ah, we need to change this so that when you select, not when you leave, this happens. Yeah, there it is. Scrape as Nintendo Wii. The issue is we need to do it on select, not when you leave the box. We need to do it when you leave, but also on select and all that stuff. So I need to fix that. Then if we go down to, for example, something that doesn't exist, Xbox, of course, it's still only happening on leave, but it should hide it. And then if we go to Nintendo Wii, well, we don't have any other platforms on there to test with. But it looks like it's working except for the fact that we need to do it on, not just on leave, we need to do it on select. I think that the selection stuff is complicated for these. So selected index changed, selected value changed. What are we doing on text changed? I see. Let's try this. Yeah, I'm just going to call. I could assign them to be the same method, but it's confusing because they're not really the same method. Yeah, RetroArch. The one thing with RetroArch that yeah, I love RetroArch. I really do. I think they're doing awesome stuff. Um, but it always seems like the initial setup is a pain. There's something with the initial configuration, uh, getting it set up properly. Just there's like 3 steps you got to do when you first start up, when you first configure RetroArch, and if you mess those up, it's just like it's screwed. That's the one thing with RetroArch that I found. And you have to. There's one setting that I always have to go in and tweak directly in the text file before anything works right. Like I can't save my settings. So yeah, it's the initial few steps that always bother me with RetroArch. Okay, we're built. Let's go ahead and yeah, for real. It's really nice to just have one emulator instead of a bunch of them. Okay, so tools, import, ROM files. It doesn't really matter what I'm choosing here. Random files. We go down to our crap emulator, or our crap system. Scrape as Nintendo Wii shows up immediately. If we switch to something else, it goes away. Or if we type in Okay, when you tab off, it shows up. That's good. Yeah, so that's good. Now it's just a matter of using that data. Really, we should assign it. We should be creating the platform at that point, I guess, at the beginning of the process. So when we go down, we go through all this stuff. Excuse me. Next, next, next. And ready to import. When we hit finish, where do I do that? Ready wizard page, commit. We have 3 different situations for the 3 different imports. And we create these import tasks. Do we need scrape as for these? For all 3 of them? Probably only for ROMs. But when we do this, we should take a look at the, yeah, we don't even have the platform page in here for these 2. So this only applies to the ROM import process. And we should really create the platform at this point if it doesn't exist, I'm thinking. Catching up on the comments here. Yeah, yeah, OPAC. I know exactly what you mean. That's one thing that's really annoying is that it changes the controls when you're navigating in RetroArch. All the settings in the back end when you're when you change the controls for the game. I know exactly what you mean. That drives me nuts too. It's great on an arcade cabinet once it's set up because then the same controls will just work. But while you're setting it up, it's a royal pain. Yeah, I use separate configs for each one too. Excuse me. Game room. Yep. All right. Cool. So back here, basically we need to, in this case, create the platform. So if um, we need to, let's see. So we have our platform name. We need to check to see if scrape as is visible. If this dot scrape as combo box dot visible, then we're going to assume it's been specified. Otherwise, we don't need to do anything. If it hasn't been specified, it's just going to be set to blank anyways. So there's nothing wrong with that. So then we have to check to make sure the platform exists. If program.datamanager.platforms dot keys dot no platforms dot values dot select s s dot name dot to lower dot contains this dot platform combo box dot text dot to trim .toLower. It checks to make sure the platform exists. If it doesn't exist, then we're going to add a new platform. Program.datamanager.platforms.values or platforms.add. We need var platform equals new platform. Platforms.add. Platform.name equals this.platform combobox.text.trim. And we're gonna and then set the scrape as. I'm gonna say if it's visible and not, if I could type string.isNull or empty this.scrape as combobox.text.trim. And then we're going to say platform.scrape as equals this.scrape as combobox.text.trim. So there's our new platform. And we're going to add it to the list. Okay, otherwise, if it does exist, then I'm going to say program.datamanager.platforms. Oh, but we're doing a case-insensitive thing here again. Goodness, that's going to bite me. I just know it. I'm doing that all over the place, though. It's probably an issue. So we'll have to solve that some other day. The case-insensitive problem with the platforms. I don't think that's going to be anything that happens regularly, but if somebody does happen to somehow get two different cases in there for the platforms, it's probably going to end up with duplicate platforms. Platforms, this stuff, platform, combo box, .text, .trim, dot scrape as equals this code right here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and call a data manager save. And we're gonna put a wait true on that, just so it doesn't happen threaded. I know Gigapig. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that, David. I didn't know Gigapig was handing out perfect RetroArch setups. That's cool. Cool. All right, so time to test this. And I think we can finally move on from scrape as, if it works. Time Okay. All right. Import ROM files. Doesn't matter. I'm going to set, we need to import new stuff. So I've got a bunch of Atari 7800 games there. So we're going to, oh, that's interesting. If it's blank, arg. All right, if it's blank, it shouldn't show scrape as, obviously. So I gotta fix that. Let's go ahead and do that. Leave. There it is. If this dot platform combo box dot text dot trim dot length equals 0, or that should do it. Okay, give it a run. Gigapig is an admin over on the Hyperspin forums. So he's fairly invested in Hyperspin, as you can imagine, being an admin over there. We are. He is open to LaunchBox's stuff. He's been a big part of the LaunchBox discussion we have over on the Hyperspin forums uh, there for a long time. So yeah, he's warming up to the community for sure. But getting him to switch over is going to be, it's going to take a while, if that ever happens. Okay, so now back to import again. Let's say we import this time. Let's go to GameCube. Oh, this is the wrong one. LaunchBox Dev, Games, GameCube. There we go. Open those. Now, instead of doing the smart thing, well, when we tab off of this, that should be fixed. Yeah. Instead of doing the smart thing and going down and selecting the Nintendo GameCube, we're going to say Nintendo GameCube Custom, and then Scrape As shows up, and we'll go down and select Nintendo GameCube. And next, and Dolphin is the emulator, and we'll use the files in their current location. We'll go ahead and scrape. We'll only get the front box though. Next, finish. 12 games imported successfully. Why didn't it get the front boxes though? Yeah, something didn't work quite right there. If we go to manage platforms, scrape as is blank for Nintendo GameCube Custom. Why is that? I have a feeling it has to do with our approach, but something's out of order. Let's go ahead and put a breakpoint here so we can walk through that process. Let's try importing different games. Well, no, I don't know. Import ROM files. Let's do a subset of NES games. Let's call it NES Custom Scrape as NES and whatever. Use Dolphin. Doesn't matter. Use front only. Now, scrape as combo box. Oh, that's the problem. It's not visible because it's not on the right page. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to fix that. So instead of that, we're going to have to determine whether it should be. Darn it. Okay. Okay, so that's not what I want. Come on. Here we are. So basically, I'm going a little bit slower than usual, guys. Right about now. It's okay. Let's see. I think we should just save the state of these items. I'm going to add a bool. Scrape as enabled. Solve it easier. Excuse me. All right. Scrape as enabled equals false. Actually, we can simplify that. And then down here, scrape as enabled equals true. Oops. Okay, and then back down on the bottom here, instead of visible, we'll use if this dot scrape as enabled. There we go. Let's catch up on the comments here. Yeah, Beatomaniac. That's what I've been trying to share over there. Why you gotta switch? Why not use both? Interesting. There is another front end for libretro called Phoenix. Interesting. Dead in development. We're not talking about running in multiple layers, Brad. Basically, some people just like having more than one front end for both LaunchBox and Big Box. I mean, what am I talking? What am I saying? I'm losing my mind. Some people like to have two different front ends. So like they want Hyperspin and they want Big Box both. So like because people will get bored of one and want to switch to the other one and then go back and forth, and nothing wrong with that. I think that's what he meant. All right, here we go. Umpteenth time's the charm. Import ROM files. Add files. Wrong folder. Let's do a few of these. And we're going to call this NES custom. Scrape as NES. And we're going to pretend that Dolphin can play Nintendo Entertainment System games. I don't want to move them around. I want to use the files in their existing location. We want the front boxes. Do your thing. It's downloading images. 10 games. NES custom. That's good. We go to manage platforms. Open that up. Uh-oh. Okay. Let's take a look at that error. This is line 662, added platform. Okay. Key not found in dictionary. So platform folder's image type. That's not a dictionary though, is it? It is. That's weird. Platformed up. Oh. I see. We're constructing the platform improperly. Oh goodness, that figures. So when we build a new platform, maybe not. Oh, this is not the right thing. Problem is platform folders is not being populated when we construct our platform. So populate platform folders. Oh, interesting. So we're calling this, I see. Okay. Instead of doing that, what I need to do is put this in here, and that will fix, yeah, stop then. That will fix this problem so that the platform folders will populate properly the way they're supposed to. That should do it. I might have screwed up the XML in the process though. Oh man, yeah, Phoenix does look a lot like us. Interesting. Yeah, it's sort of a combination between LaunchBox and Mac OS. What's it called? The Load this up over here so people can see it. Uh, there's a program for Mac OS 10 that is similar as well. Oh yeah, that's wow. That looks really similar. No kidding. Interesting. OpenEMU. Yeah, thanks. Scrolling text. I didn't realize that was a big appealing feature, David. The scrolling text. I should promote them hiring developers. OPAC. What do you mean exactly, OPAC? I'm sorry. I'm not following. See what happens when I start this up now. It might be broke. Oh, yeah. I don't really want to though, OPAC, to be honest. I'm happy with my LaunchBox stuff. LaunchBox does really well for me, so and I'm happy where I'm at with this. I don't really want to work for another for an emulator company. They're not really a company though. What is, yeah, somebody explain to me. I don't even know. Like RetroArch is, what kind of company are they? What kind of organization are they? Okay, so in big box, scrolling text, David. Okay. Do we have we should add a ticket for that in Bitbucket if there isn't one. I've never seen a ticket for that. I don't think. That doesn't mean it's not there though. I just haven't seen it. Okay. Well, no, not the game description text. I think he's talking about, or maybe he is. I don't know. Is it game description text or title text? I think both. I've heard about both before. It's just I'm not sure if there's tickets for it. Let's go ahead and do a new platform here. Make sure that issue is fixed. If we, no, what am I doing? I need to import one more time. And we'll go to, let's do some, actually it's in, it doesn't matter. Some Super Nintendo. Call it custom SNES. Scrape as Super Nintendo. Pretend Dolphin does Super Nintendo as well. Go, 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 go. Okay. Custom NES, downloaded images. We go to manage platforms, custom SNES. Yeah, scrape a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Everything's good. Cool. Very cool. That's working great. So I think we're finally done, and this is still going to crash, I think. No, it doesn't. So when it loads it back up, it fixes it. That's great. That's good. And it's scrape as is correct there as well. Good deal. So scrape as is all there. Let's go take a look at the to-do list. This we just added. Renaming the platform changes folders but doesn't move content. Something we need to look at that. It's that pretty soon here, but I'm not gonna look at that right now. The next biggest issue to resolve is basically I'll show you guys what's going on. Why not both? Yeah. Are you sleepy, Brad? What the heck? It's Zelda. I didn't even realize it was Zelda. I didn't understand what that image was. Zelda with the pigs, of course. So the new forum is uh, almost there. OPAC. I talked about it a little bit earlier, I think, but I'm just wrapping up a few final pieces. Definitely be deploying it this week. Um, but Zelda, yeah, sorry, it's Link. Yes, I know. It, whatever. The Zelda video game, the Link character. Forgive me for my verbiage issues. Yes, anyways. So the forums are happening. I'm also tired, so forgive me. The forums are happening. They should go live this week. It's taking me a little bit longer than I thought it would, but they'll be in a much better state this way. So, but they're definitely going to go live this week. I'm going to focus starting tomorrow. I'm going to focus development on the games database and the forums for a few days. We'll get a beta out. We'll get the next beta out for LaunchBox with these few little features here, and then and fix some things, and then it's on to the games database and the forums. The Legend of Zelda is not the best video game series of all time. I'm sorry, Brad. It's just not. It's not that great. It's really kind of meh, you know. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't know what else to tell you. But you're wrong. You know, I know it's your favorite series ever, but you know, it really shouldn't be anyone's favorite series. I'm sorry. Okay. Focus, 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 focus. So that's done. Basically, what's going on? I was going to show you this glitch. I have no idea, OPAC. I'm just being a tool. So we go to options, and this isn't licensed, so I've got to make this instance licensed before we can even do this. I'm just going to copy my personal license file over to my dev session here. LaunchBox, bin, debug. And now we're licensed. Okay, Brad, I can still ban you from this conversation. Dude. Oh man. Uh, okay. I'm losing all my friends. The Legend of Zelda is a good game series. Okay, so if we go to tools, options, and then we go to background priorities and we uncheck clear logo and fan art. So we don't want anything. We want just basically the default LaunchBox background, and press OK. Everything goes kind of haywire. You'll notice it uses random images in the backgrounds because it doesn't know what to do. So I need to fix that. And then also when you load it back up, we got this problem. So that's the next thing I really need to fix. So I'm going to fix that. If we go in the options form, and we go to load values, load image priorities values. This is where the issue is. So we have our checklist box, we have our value. Excuse me. Okay, we're adding if value, if string dot is null or empty, value dot trim. If not, then we're going to do this. Sure. So image types. String. Oh, I just do var. No, we need string. String image types. Equals null. And then if image types is not equal to null and image types dot contains, let me continue. That should do it. In theory. All right. So that's good. That should fix one problem. Problem when you load up the values. What it won't fix is the problem with the wrong images being used in the background. Okay, if we go to options now, we go into background priorities. Yeah, that's good. That's correct. But it's still going to use the wrong backgrounds. And that is in controls, games control base, I think. Or maybe that's image games control. Let's go back to set background image and find those references. Oh, this is on for game, so this is the right thing, I think. Get actual random background image path for a game. Yeah, so it's probably this method right here. Get all background images. Guess let's put a breakpoint on that. OPEC, I'm on the West Coast, so Pacific. Hey, Force Fed, welcome. We got like a half an hour left before I crash on the crap platform. Hey, Virgil. How fast does background images load when selecting a game, highlighting a game? Okay. Background image types. Oh, there it is. That's the issue. I get it. Background image types. So really, I mean, I think all we need to do is just basically if program.datamanager.settings.background image types. Oh no, we need to go to that property is what we need to do and fix the property, because yeah, all these should be fixed. This dot background image type priorities dot trim dot length. I probably shouldn't assume that. Let's just do string that is null or empty. Fireworks out there. This dot background image type priorities dot trim, then new string 0. Otherwise, this dot background image type priorities dot split. That should solve it, and I should do that for the rest of them too. This is going to be a pain. There. Well, let's take a look at Virgil. I'll take a look at my system and see what the performance is on my system for that. It is probably on a little bit of a delay on purpose for performance reasons. I'll take a look at it. I don't know. Make sure this is good. Let's build this. Looks like we got an error somehow or other. Yeah, I've got an extra parentheses. Okay, so if I load up my proper collection I'm working on here, there's not a ton of games in it, but did I click it? Nope, apparently not. Okay. Yeah, it does take a second. Well, it takes sometimes less than a second. Sometimes it takes a second to load up an image, a background image. That's not bad. I think the background images, I think I prioritize other stuff other than the background images. The more important stuff, like details. But yeah, we're always working on the performance for that stuff, so could always be improved. Looks like it's less than a second for me, but you never know. The other thing is the bigger the image, the longer it's going to take to load from disk. Because the background images are all loaded directly from the disk. They're not cached in any way, shape, or form. So, worth noting. Okay, what did I just fixed the blank? Let's go ahead and test that. Yep, everything's always a work in progress. So now it's using the default background image always, it looks like, which is good. That's exactly what we wanted. And if we go into options and change the default background, or change the background priorities, something stupid like make box front always the background, that's going to work fine. If we go into options, background priorities, turn that off so there's nothing, it should just always use the default background, and it does. So that is fixed. That's awesome. Another thing to cross off the list. I think I'll go ahead and put out a new beta tonight. I don't know why not. Scrape as is done. This is some stuff that was a nice to have for rocket launcher. I need to get the translations in there, so I go ahead and do that. Let's see. We have a glitch with the mouse in Big Box on the game wheels. Let's go ahead and get that German translation going. What are you guys talking about over here? Yeah, I'm not looking up the translations, guys. But fill me in. Fill me in on the conversation, I guess. All right, so let's go ahead and get the translation files from OPAC. I haven't checked that translation thread in a while. I probably should. Come on now. Okay. Just going to put these files on the desktop for now. So here are this is the German translation. I'm going to pull star.de.resx and I'm going to cut those and put them in LaunchBox source forms and replace. And then the strings one needs moved into the properties folder instead. Replace. Okay, so that is the translation files. And then we have to enable the German translation. And it's been a while since I did this. So I might need to, let's build it, make sure it builds here first. Okay. We built, right? Yep. So then under culture, we already had that line there. I think that's right. That's the right language code, I think. Let me check. Yep, that's the right one. So we add that as an available culture. Anything else we need to do? Not quite sure yet. If we go into, Well, let's just try it. Why not? Let's build it. See if we can switch to a German translation. Give it a run. Then we go options. Okay, shows up there. We'll see what happens. Restart. Beatlemaniac. Jason, are you going to perform any more music videos on your YouTube channel? Billy and Jay was pretty cool, funny. I appreciate that, Beatlemaniac. I had a lot of fun doing that. I was really just screwing around, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to do that again. Uh, but maybe someday. We'll see if I'm inspired. I was just sitting down with a guitar over the weekend one time, trying to relax, and that came into my head, and so I just spit it out. I don't. I haven't. Man, I used to spend a lot of time on music and recording and everything else. But the difference is like when I work on music stuff, my audience is like, okay, maybe 100 people, 200 people, like will ever listen to the song, and that's great to have an audience of 100 people. But when I work on LaunchBox, my audience is thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands. So it's like I feel like when I do music stuff like that, I'm just wasting my time in comparison to when I put effort into something big like LaunchBox that's taken off. So I for the most part, I've stopped doing music stuff and I've started to focus more on stuff that actually gathers interest. So that's kind of where I stand on that. But I enjoy doing stuff like that every once in a while, just for the heck of it. I had fun doing that though, man. That was great. I really enjoyed it. All right. So I'm losing my mind now. The Spanish translation doesn't look like it worked for whatever reason. So I've got to figure out this is right. I'm probably not copying the right files over or something like that. If I run it, well, let's take a look. Let's run this dev instance over here. In metadata, we do have the, oh, that's interesting. I don't think that could be the cause of the problem, but you never know. Let's try and run it here. We go to German. It's okay. It's my fault, not yours, Opac. Don't worry about it. We'll get it. Yeah, it didn't work. So what am I doing wrong? If we, I'm probably just missing some code that I forgot about. We add the available cultures, apply the saved culture. Oh, you know what? It's because it's DE, it's not DE-DE. But What happens if let's do a breakpoint. See what happens. Oh, come on. Forgot to close the other instance. Okay. Language is DE. Available cultures.keys. If it starts with DE, so we get down here, it sets the culture code to DE-DE. Okay. That looks right. Yeah. Remember, there's something I always miss with this, and I'm trying to remember what it is. The reason for the language not showing up. Obviously, the file looks fine. Do we have anything that's translated, or is it just could just be the main form that's not, or something like that? Let's see. The startup thing isn't. It's saving the language properly. Yeah, it looks like it's failing to get everything for whatever reason. Oh, this is interesting though. The date and time formats are different, but it's not loading the. I wonder, is that, you know what? Duh, because you're using dot. Yeah, I know what the problem is. Problem is I'm an idiot. I hope this works. I think that'll fix it. Just like that. We'll see. It's generic German versus Germany German, all that stuff. So if we start it up, we'll probably have to reset the setting. I don't know, we'll see. Take it easy, David. Thanks for joining. Still. Bah. Okay. Still got an issue here. If we take a look at the strings files, strings.de, it's possible I might have to rename them. Let's see. Yeah, I messed up and I named them incorrectly. Because apparently, maybe not, I'm not sure. If I were to, for example, rename this file to be mainform.de, it's not going to let me rename that file, is it? Come on. DE. Put that back in. And then if we go in, I'm gonna where's exclude? Exclude. Wow. Come on, I can't do anything. What's going on? Fine. Source, LaunchBox, source, LaunchBox. Forms. Go to the main form. And if we rename this file de-de, go back out here, it's going to error on build because the file doesn't exist. It's looking for show all files, main form. We're going to remove that one and include that in the project and rebuild again. And hopefully we have the main form translated at least. I think the issue is just that I hope the issue is just that I'm using the wrong language code. We'll find out. It would be nice if we had a success at the end of this stream, but we shall see. Yes, I'm getting translated text. Yep, that was the issue. All right, so OPAC, the issue is apparently that I needed to call the files de-de because apparently just generic German isn't a valid language code. So it has to be a particular country's German. So Germany's German is what we use just because it's, I don't know, the most prominent, I guess. But hopefully, so I just basically have to go in and rename the files. That's not a big deal. And then we'll get the beta out. I'm going to wait to put out the beta till tomorrow morning, guys, because I'm tired. So I'm going to hit the sack. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning at 9:30 for the next one. And I'm going to go crash. Thanks, everybody. Take it easy.